Welcome to your June 9th Power Hour meeting with Katelyn, Carly, and Clare Fulton. We're going to talk about all things real estate and market and how to make money. There's a lot of side meetings happening as well. You know, it just keeps me on my toes. I got to hear it's here, over there, you know. It's a lot of multitasking that we do.
It's a lot of overstimulation here for the ADHDers.
That's all right. Tell us who did open houses then. And if you're online, please let us know too. Thanks, Merle. How did open houses go? I know ours in Curtis, Tashia did it Saturday and Sunday. We had 19 groups through total. That's a fresh,
an under-listed property.
Fresh listing, $699 list price, holding offers. It's a detached house. It's been busy with showings as well, so I'm not surprised. But did you say Saturday or Sunday were busy? I think both were busy.
I think there were 7 groups on Saturday, so then the rest came on Sunday.
Yeah.
4, but she got 4 leads from it.
4 leads herself.
Which is really good.
Yeah, she texted us. She was cute. She says, okay, we have an offer for you. I won't say the amount or anything, but it was under asking and conditional. And I said, nope. Thank you so much. If it gets you a BRA, go for it. But
yeah,
not for us. But yeah. Anyone online do open houses?
Brampton.
Brampton, nobody, right?
No, 0 on Saturday.
0 Saturday.
2 on Sunday.
2 on Sunday, okay. And I know showings have been a little slower. That's in the $2 million price point, though. Mm-hmm. Are we doing an improvement, or you're just hanging out? I mean,
he wants me to call him on it.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, clients kind of want scheduled calls right now. I am noticing that too. They're not in a rush. Like I'm like, okay, we need to change the price like today. Yeah. It's Friday. Let's get. And they're like, okay, we'll have a chat on Tuesday. I'm like, okay, cool. And just keeps adding to the days on market. But okay.
He said he has until the end of the year. So
yeah. So remember last week we talked about time or motivation.
But we also talked about if you guys do have your slow listings, by keeping in touch with them and just letting them know. You're not saying I'm dropping the price for selling it for nothing. You're just updating it and preparing them for the conversation by talking about the market. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure at some point he's going to come down in price. Maybe. Unmotivated.
And that's for $2 million. That makes sense. That's not flying off. Right? That's
his neighbor just listed for 2.2.
Okay, great, perfect. That's actually great for you.
No, it's more confusing.
No, it's 2 since some fresh listing. You're under them. So.
Yeah. I know, like we did another strategy which we talked about 2 weeks ago when Claire was talking about pricing right now. What a lot of people have been doing is pricing based off the last sale that happened, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Now we're suggesting don't go based off of the last sold, go based off of what's currently on the market and list the lowest or something. Like try to be competitive because there might be 30 properties, the same as yours, the same price point. And so they're getting flooded by the showing. So we need to come up with a different strategy where we're listing based off of what's actually on the market, whether it's below what you guys want and all that. We did that with a listing. We listed a little bit, like $10,000 higher than the last sale, which was in January. No showings, crickets. Then we dropped it to be the 3rd lowest townhome in Oshawa, and we've had about 15 showings, 3 offers on it. And the offers aren't coming in where we want, but we're getting action. So the strategy worked really well that we were just discussing. So if you guys have some slow listings right now, take a look at what's on the market and just drop the price accordingly to what's on the market.
It's good to ask, if you do have showings, ask them what else they're seeing. So you can see from their point of view when they're out shopping, what else they're going to go look at.
We saw 8 properties
and we saw
here.
this. And you'll actually see that the range is a little bit more broad than you would think. It's actually not just in that pocket sometimes. Morale's been showing one of our properties quite often in North York, and she's really good at saying, I'm going to go see this one and this one right after. And it's not all in C15. So it's really helpful for my client to say, hey, they're looking at all of these buildings. This is what you have to compare to, not just your stack. So that's
because a lot of condos, they'll be like, but I'm the only listing in the condo. Like, no, you're the only one in the building, but there's about 30 other buildings that have the same what you have.
Yeah, and this building really might be better or lower maintenance fees or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just a different strategy.
Yeah. Is anyone doing bully offers or preemptives or any kind of offers on like regular nights? I'm curious. I learned about a strategy that worked really well.
I have a client looking to purchase in like Riverdale, East York.
Okay, yeah, Riverdale's generally pretty.
That area is usually like pretty consistent, which is interesting.
Yeah. So like I would say definitely multiple offers. So we had it was a house at 7 Riverdale, semi-detached.
Yeah.
Listed at 99999.
Yeah, semi-detached in Riverdale.
Sold for 1.4.
Yeah, 999 sold for 1.4.
And there's offers coming in right now for another one we looked at, a 17 Devon. It's a fully detached arts and crafts style, like Toronto house. Nothing's been done to it in 50 years. It's kind of like the original family has left.
Yeah.
It's an estate sale, and I can see 7 offers registered already.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
Well, did they have an offer night?
it's right now.
Okay, it is
Yeah,
today.
today.
So there was a plan.
Pretty early though, actually. for
Wow.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, what time did they have their offer submission?
So registered by 1, and
Okay.
then offers reviewed at 3.
Yeah.
7 Riverdale had 18 offers registered.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And this one, 14 Devon, they're coming in right now, but it's already
Yeah.
Wow. What price point?
7 registered. So that's like $750 for, like, I think it's
Is it like a $900 to $1 million property,
it's
probably?
like it's over $1 million. If you look at
Okay.
other houses on the street and what those houses can be turned into,
Yeah.
I would imagine that 750 is going to sell for
Yeah.
like at least 1.2.
So I'm noticing in that area, because I just had a buddy sell in that area, they're listed really low. So he listed for $1,050,000 or $1,080,000 or something and sold for 1.4 on a bully. So like I think in that area, so like again, strategy changes. Even if you just look at East York, that strategy may be completely different than what I just talked about in Durham. So that's a good.
So I had to level set with my client because I'm like, we're heading down a path here. We're just going to keep on looking at these underlisted properties and
Expect 400 over asking. Yeah.
I can't take that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I don't want to take it either.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Interesting.
So Ron, are you finding that people are giving you second chances to improve, or what's the strategy of these offer presentations?
7 Riverdale, there was nothing.
One and done?
Significantly under, so I don't know. Maybe we didn't make the top 5.
Yeah.
Interesting,
We
okay.
didn't get a chance, but I essentially got a call back at 5 o'clock. So they decided within 2 hours.
Okay, yeah, I'm asking because I know of an agent that was competing on an offer night as well, and she got the call, which we all get, which is, hey, there's 2 offers, it's you and another, and you guys are pretty much the same. So you can both improve, and we're going to make a decision. And I said, they didn't say you're pretty much the same. They said you're pretty close. And I told her you're probably exactly the same. And so the strategy when you come back for your second improvement, don't go with the 5 or 10 grand more. Because the other person's probably going to do the exact same thing. You guys are both going to come like this. You need to give them something that the listing agent makes a really easy decision. Like it's got to be obvious, and to do that, it's an odd number. So if you had planned to do 5K, do 7,500.
yeah.
If you plan to do 10, do
12.
12,500. Make it like an odd number so that when they get the 2 that are most likely going to be the same, yours is just enough to make that decision easy.
Yeah.
And they did that. And the buyers decided to, on their own, do $2,500 more, and they got it within 5 minutes.
That's a good point.
So if you're competing and you're trying to predict that they're probably doing the same, that's what market value is, right? The buyers are going to decide what the price is.
Yeah.
They probably have the exact
Yeah.
same comparables and the exact same budgets.
Yeah.
So just make it a little unique.
Yeah. So in any offer, whether you're competing, just add a
Yeah.
couple thousand more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Otherwise, just as a listing agent, it's so awful. You have to make a hard decision, and then it's tough.
For those at home that maybe didn't hear the question that Ron talked about, was offer dates at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I love that. I love that so much.
We try to do that too,
So
but it
why
doesn't
do it
work.
at 7 at night? Why do it at 10 at night or 9 at night?
We do it to
why not do
ourselves.
it? Why kill yourself? Just do it during the day.
It's true. I think it scares people because sometimes they're at work, so you want to have it open and available to as many buyers as possible, because if they're in work during the day, then maybe it's harder for sign backs, but it sounds like those people are all standing by.
Yeah, because you're probably going to be negotiating about 5 or
Yeah.
6 p.m., and then,
Yeah.
it'll probably be done by 8.
Yeah.
So at
I
least
think it
it's not-
depends on the price. I think a lower price first-time home buyers, I would go with the nighttime ones, because some of them might have shift work, 9 to 5 jobs, maybe in that price point. Those people have maybe higher up jobs, so maybe they're more flexible, so.
Yeah. I find Mondays kind of challenging too, because you kind of need the day to get a hold of your mortgage broker and kind of get organized. I don't generally do Mondays, but someone online saying they did lowball offer 1.2 out of 1.375. They countered. The buyers walked away. A few weeks later, they came back and asked if we would do 1.25. So that was lower than their first offer. That's happening right now. What did they do? I don't know. What did they end up
Everyone wants
doing
to
it?
punish each other right now.
I bet they still said no.
Yeah, like of course you're gonna say no.
But you never know what the motivation. You find the right seller that has to sell, they are going to undersell.
They didn't continue.
They'll continue, and I've seen that.
I think most buyers, that's the one-time shot. If you,
One time,
if you
you're
don't get
done.
that 1 day, 2 days later, they moved on.
They move on to the
I had
next
that happen
buyer.
on our listing in Birchcliff. We had an offer. We took a gamble. We said no. Those people bought, and we sold for another 50 grand.
Less.
Less than that.
Always take the first offer.
First offer is the best offer. like over and over. Like we could do a survey with the actual results, right?
That first offer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as best you can. Sign backs, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, yeah. You have something, Sandeep? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I told Claire, it was sell and buy. Listing was 948. I received an offer of 941. Client did take. Out of 8 showing, only one offer. And then the buyer was ready to go up to 950. Above asking, still seller didn't sell because they didn't find the right property what they want to buy.
Yeah.
1.3 was their budget. They say we are not finding the property. I said market is flooded with the property. But
Yeah. And you're representing the buyer in this case? Or?
Seller.
The seller, okay. Oh, shoot. So that was a listing that they had said no, but then themselves couldn't find a house to buy either, and then the motivation goes away too. So,
stupidity, I'll say. I mean,
yeah, everything is right
you
there.
received one offer, they were ready to go above asking.
Yeah.
They say we are not finding the right property to buy.
So I guess that lesson is maybe you want to be shopping around for something to buy first, so that they've got a time.
So
Time deadline.
what are we telling our clients? Buy first, sell first. Today's market.
Sell.
What do you tell a client like that?
So they could have sold first and then bought their 1.3, right?
Yeah, they could have done it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
hard.
and you can always do a reverse SPP, right? Sell
Yep.
sell of the seller's property.
Yeah, I've seen that.
SSP.
Yeah.
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 When you're selling your
Right.
conditional on the seller finding a property.
Yeah, sometimes that is a point of contention.
You can get creative.
Lots of creative things happening. You have to be creative right now, I think, to get a deal going.
Getting a condo listing is I mean, I know as a seller.
It used to be an assignment. Now it's any condo listing, right? I'm just reading online. We have a listing. As soon as they got up, they got an offer for 1.3. Had it listed at 1.365. Now they're biting their nails with regret.
And it's hard because the sellers just say no, and you want to say
Well, that's a good point,
take
too.
it, but they don't believe you.
That's a good point too. Sometimes the offer comes because the buyers have been so excited for a house like that. They give an offer and then the seller says, well, that happened too fast. You told me it was going
Yep.
to take 30 days. So
Yep.
probably someone else is going to give
We'll
me
be
higher
patient.
next.
We were not in a rush.
You told
we're not
me-
in a rush is usually
You told me it's
what
going to
they'll
take
say,
30
right?
days. So
Yeah.
shoot, there must be like actual survey results that show this over and over. I wish we could show them.
We
like,
might need a script for that one.
you need
'Cause that's going to
I
happen
think we need a
lot.
graph. First offer is the best offer and then it like it goes down after that.
But you also don't want to push it. Like
Problem
it's
is
a weird
nobody believes it
balance.
until it's
I know.
passed. So.
Hindsight, right?
And then they'll blame you still. They'll blame you either way.
Nelson, what are you doing? You pricing properties at market, low market, or the sellers telling you what to do?
Sellers.
The sellers are telling us
Yeah,
what to
Sellers are
do.
not realistic.
Yeah.
Sellers are not
The
realistic.
reason I say that because I have articles here talking about that. So how the buyers are not motivated, really, well, they're motivated, but not highly motivated, and the sellers are the same thing.
Yeah, it's a very interesting balance right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's fascinating.
Well, you've got a quick meeting today, so you might have to
Okay,
do
we have a quick
your
meeting.
quick stats.
We have something at 1:30. Card and I have a 1:30 appointment there, so we have to leave at 1:30. What time is it now?
125 we're going to leave at, actually. so that we're
125?
prepared.
You got
We got
20
time.
minutes speed
Let's do
round.
speed round stats.
Okay, let me just
Claire's
do.
got to go to Rico jail.
No,
So-
this one's not Rico, don't worry.
So I've got all these papers here,
yeah, you
but,
have.
but we're just down to one page.
Oh,
I thought it was fun. First of all, what's the market? You guys tell me, is the market slow? Is it transitioning? Are we in the summer market? Or what? I mean, I hate to say it, it's still only June, but
I don't even want to call it. It's slow if you're not pricing it properly. If you're pricing your properties properly and presenting them properly, you will get results.
if you look at the numbers from last month there, so June we had like 6,244 sales. These numbers are a little bit different than numbers I give you each week, only because numbers I give you are just general numbers. These are more specific, like they detail more stuff. When I do it, I take lockers and parking space. I just get a number. I just want to know the feel of the market rather than the exact numbers. These exact numbers. So last year we had 7,200. This year 6,200. So it's minus 13%. New listings are up 14%. New listings at 21,000. Last year 19,000. Active listings 30,964. They couldn't get that. 964 is up 41%. As we speak today or this morning, it's over 32,000. I don't
Is
know
that
about
a good thing? Wait, why are we clapping?
Average.
Options? Okay. Okay. This is a buyer's
We've been
agent.
waiting for
Yes. Buyer's agent. Yes. Okay. Okay.
There's nothing to buy.
I know.
There's nothing to buy.
All my articles,
32,000.
low supply, no supply. I don't understand.
So the liar.
So prices themselves are 1.12. So actually minus 4% from last year. Okay, so it's overall.
That deserves a clap.
It's like mine.
Prices are minus 4%.
Don't read just because an article said 0.1 doesn't mean that they're the Toronto market stats. So we'll go through that too and how to read articles.
Yeah. no, Sanek's right. You have to read. You have to read the news, okay? And what I just gave you is what your consumer reads.
Mm-hmm.
They read minus 4. They read the Toronto Star. They read the. Well, here's the headlines, okay? I'll just give you the headlines. Toronto area home prices drop 4% as May marks another near record low for sales. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto house prices tick up for the first time in 5 months as buyers lured back.
They take that? Yeah.
So this is for my buyer file. This is my seller file. In every courtroom, there's two lawyers. One for the bad guy, one for the good guy. Okay, so you have to think yourself. Okay, who am I dealing with, buyers or sellers? Right. This article here says house prices started declining in Ontario. Brokers break down what is driving stagnant real estate market. Okay, I'll get that later on. That's fine. Others, I just took the Google and just took the headlines. Toronto house prices tick up for the first time in 5 months as buyers lure back. Weak home sales in Toronto despite increased inventory. GTA home sales benefit from more listings. Toronto home sales fell 13% in May. So we got minus 4% for the units. We got minus 13%. We've got
up 1%.
We've got prices tick up for the first time in 5 months. So what are they doing? It's different types of properties, different areas, detached, semis, condos, the whole works. So that's what they're talking about there. The article that says that prices have ticked up for the first time in 5 months. They're talking about Toronto house prices ticked up after 5 straight months of decline as Canada-U.S. trade tensions. Okay, the benchmark price. So first of all, they're talking about benchmark price, not average price.
And they're talking about Canada.
And they're talking about Canada and not Toronto. And it's actually climbed 0.1%.
It did tick
Right.
up technically, so the headline is correct.
So if you're not number one in that category, just change the category, right? So that's what changed. Toronto home prices dropped 4%. But if you look at the actual numbers themselves, prices themselves, sales, detached houses in the 416 area actually dropped 5.6%. Semi-detached dropped 8.4%. Towns dropped 3.3%, and the condos dropped 7.3%.
And we're saying year over year.
This is year over year. Okay. If I look at the house price index, instead that tells us that everything overall composites minus 4.49%. If I look at the single detached houses, it's minus 4.7. Attached houses, semis, are minus 4.7. Townhouses minus 5. Condos minus 7. I just said that, right? But if I go down and let's pick an area in Toronto, let's say let's do Central someplace. What district is Riverdale? E what?
E2.
Okay, so go E2. E2, the prices in the last year, as the average price in E2 is now 1.432 for all properties, all types. Prices have actually increased 2%. Single-family residences, average price 1.9, prices up 4.3%. And your semi is actually down 0.3%. So it's almost the same as last year. So even though we just said the average is minus 4, in Riverdale the price has actually gone up, and you just proved that too. Listed at 900 sells for 1.4. No, listed 1.1. You said 1.4.
999.
So 999 sold 1.4.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, right?
I had a house on my street. I'm kind of like in the upper beaches area, so the street is semi-detached. And I had a house on my street go up for sale month ago. It was only on the market for 3 days. They didn't do any open houses. They didn't stage. They didn't present. And it sold. I was a little bit angry because it's my street. It sold in 3 days for $1,050,000.
Oh, okay.
It just, shame on me for not knowing that person getting the listing, but I just thought you could have got more. You could have got more. Like they didn't. They sold it fast, which is great, but they didn't prepare the property. They didn't present it well.
Yeah, it's important.
So everybody has competition out there, right? So not all competition is going to do what you guys do. Not all competition has what you guys have, the information and stuff. So if I go to June 8th now, we're at 32,000 sales. 33% of those, 32,000 active listings, 33% of them are vacant. 26% of freeholds for sale. There's 18,000 freeholds for sale. 26% of those are vacant. Condominiums, there's 14,000. 43% of those are vacant. That's a big number,
Yeah,
right?
it's huge, yeah.
Sales so far for the first 8 days in June, minus 5% from last year. I did something fun here. I just wanted to find out, I've been reading about condominiums minus 500 square feet. A lot of stuff's been up for sale.
Yeah.
I think I was reading something, there's 20,000, like the pre-construction, there's 20,000. I just said how many? There's 13,000 condominiums on MLS that are for sale. There's 20,000 pre-construction condos inventory that hasn't sold. So there's more pre-construction inventory out there that has not sold. It's not on MLS.
How do we know that number?
From the Builders Association. Okay. Of the 13,000 that are on MLS, 2,400 are minus 500 square feet, or 18%. So 18% of the inventory is minus 500 square feet.
Yeah.
So it's not a ton, right? It's 18%. It's something. It has to be something, but it's not huge. But if I do the sales for 500, under 500 square foot, the sales, there's 61 sold this month so far, 0.4%. So if minus 500 square foot represents 18% of the inventory, represents 0.4% of the sales. So if you've got something that's minus 500 square feet, then there's problems.
Yeah.
I filter it out. If I'm doing a search, it doesn't matter if it's for a rental or a purchase. I filter out anything under 500
Yeah,
square feet.
you just don't check
So
that
you
box.
don't even bother looking for it, right?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sales over 101%, there's 23% of them. 10% of the freeholds sold for over asking, and 14% of the condos sold for over asking.
That's getting less and less.
Daily is 185, so 185 is good, so it's okay. If I compare it to May sales, we're only down to 6%. So we're down a little bit from May. Leases are at 17,600, vacant are 52%, so half the leases out there are vacant. Under 500 square feet, it represents 32% of the population. Or of the inventory.
Available, yeah.
So 32%, for sale was 18, for lease 32%, because people don't want to lose any money, I guess, right? And leases themselves that sold under 500 square feet, I just said 32% represents the amount of inventory under 500 square feet. Sales are 686, only 7% sales.
But more than what sold. So if you have somebody that's trying to figure out if they should sell or lease,
Right.
you have a better shot at leasing.
And the
it than you
leases
do selling
themselves
it.
are actually up 14% from last year. So it's okay. The numbers are there, starting to shake out. Vran, what do you think about last week's announcement about interest rates? I had people mad because they didn't go down. I think one of them was Trump.
Oh, he was mad? Well, what did he think was going to happen?
No one wasn't surprised.
I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was hopeful that it'd be go down a quarter point, but I wasn't
Yeah.
surprised that it didn't.
Probably
'Cause-
the strategy is going to be to reduce it maybe on the next one, but just to spread it out a little bit.
I was with Scotiabank, the chief economist was there, he's predicting no rate cut.
No rate cuts at all.
He went from 3 rate cuts to no rate cuts.
Boy,
He thinks it's a lot to do with the US, they have so much debts.
yeah, it could be. Interest rates for fixed rate mortgages are likely won't drop in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so I'm hearing about fixed.
So
yeah.
even though the overnight rate may go down even a quarter point, doesn't mean that the fixed rates are going to go down, because it's directly tied to the bond market. So if the bond market is going up, and the bond market would be going up because it's reversed. I might be wrong here, but the bond market's going up because people are not as enthused about bond market right now, so they had to increase the bond rate to make people buy the bonds.
And also, people are not.
Most of borrowing goes up.
I'm getting that. So
Yeah.
they had to make the bonds attractive, and that's how the government raises money, right? They sell bonds, people give them money, they take that money and they buy something. So, but the demand was low, so they had to increase the bond rates. That's why the rates will stay the same. Or
People are just not buying anyways. That's a whole separate issue than interest rates. The prices are too high. So even if they did reduce interest rates, I don't think it's going to do anything.
I had a
People are
client
still
who's
not
a-
buying right now.
I had a client who's an electrician. He lost the approval because he didn't approve. He lost his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's not being called for another 3 months.
And he's an electrician for what type of
He works
industry?
in construction.
Construction.
for housing, do you think, or just
It's
still?
a housing. He works in a
Okay.
condo project, so he's been told he won't be. They'll call him in. He doesn't even know when he's going to go back.
Interesting.
Everything is frozen.
Some of the biggest developers,
Danielle's laying
Daniel's
us down.
Tridal.
I have inside sources that are very scared.
So that's a signal, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised with the condo market because everybody's talking about the condo market, what's going on, right? So interesting. This girl here, Peggy Hill from Barrie. I don't know if you know her. She's a big shot. She's
I think she's the number one in Remax.
contrary to what Frank Lee will have you believe. Peggy Hill's the number one agent for Remax.
She is.
She's single though.
But she's ahead of him. His just. he
Anyway,
has better
so
wording.
she and basically her prices are probably half of what we are in Toronto, but the reason why they're half is because they're moving, right? But she's saying they're having problems up there too, which would be down here.
She's just saying though that Toronto's not used to the problems. They've done this before, so for them they're used to it. Just us Toronto people are freaking out.
Well,
That's right. What she's saying here, it's very common for people out in her training area for properties to be on the market for months before they sell. Here we freak out when it hasn't sold in 5 days.
yeah, 5 days.
She's like, I don't know why Toronto people are like.
We're crazy.
And she's saying that properties that were going for $1 million up there are now going for 800,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the market
It should,
value.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
She says the Toronto's market is probably the same as ours, but they aren't used to it. Okay, Toronto has approximately 5 months worth of inventory. We've never seen that before. Sellers are used to quicker turnover. Toronto's a very liquid market. That's fine. But she goes on to talk about the first-time buyers. And just to remind you guys, if you have first-time buyers, hopefully you do, but the first-time buyers can now access the $1,500 tax credit to get when they buy a new house. That's on the tax itself.
Yeah.
They can also get 30-year amortization mortgages for first-time buyers, both for new houses and resales. They also have they've stopped it now, but they had that government program that the government would give you 5 or 10% down,
yeah.
but they'd also maintain 5 or 10% of the equity, but that
So
ran out of money.
there's a new program I learned. It starts with an A. I forget the company, but there's a company that's mimicking that without going on title. And I know of some people utilizing that service.
I think there's private guys who would do that.
Yeah, exactly. It is private. Yeah, but she makes a good point. The first-time home buyers matter because we need the first-time home buyers to buy our entry-level property so that our upgrader buyers have
Okay,
somewhere
go.
to go. And she makes a good point. It is all connected because most of our listings from first-time
the
buyers,
upsizers can't move
they're
unless
trying to
they
get to the next
sell.
level. But if they can't sell that entry-level townhouse, condo, they're not. No one's moving, and then that's where the market just stays the same, and no one does anything. So
That's fair.
they're
It's like a
really
domino
they're
effect.
very important to our market right now to help them get
Yeah.
in. So we should be focusing a lot of our energy getting them into the market to help the sellers move and do what they want to do.
That's a fair point.
Need a first time seller.
That's exactly.
And you need a first-time seller to get the,
first-time
boomers
seller-
out of their.
That's what she's saying. The
their
first-time
townhomes.
sellers are not. They can't sell because they can't sell their house. The first-time sellers are really struggling right now.
That's true. Actually.
So they're also saying that the boomers, many retirees, baby boomers, not necessarily need a 3-bedroom home, aren't ready to downsize just yet. They're hanging on to the houses because they don't know what's around the corner. Retirees are living active lives, most with mortgages paid off. They're comfortable staying put, not only because they enjoy the neighborhood, but because they're paying less than rent, and they're able to maintain independence longer. So a lot of people were downsizing. They go to condominium. Condominium's got a $600-700 a month maintenance fee right off the bat. So why don't you stay in your house, right? Does anybody know that? Everybody's got people doing that. They say that people stay in the houses longer. Nobody seems to be downsizing. Downsizing used to be a thing.
Yep.
I'm not sure how it is now. Anyway, so I'll just talk about one more thing here, and then you can carry on. Just some politics here.
120.
I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, just be aware of it. The federal government wants to break down all the borders, like cross-province trading. Like it used to be you couldn't buy beer from Quebec and bring it to Ontario without breaking the law. You can't buy in Ontario, you can't buy BC wines, or BC wines, you can't buy Ontario wines. So we got all these goofy things. Forget about the states and other worlds. Provinces have the same problem. So they have this thing called it as a right of mobility. So now they've I think it's law, but they still have to get to the regulations. They want to allow cross-border trading, which means you guys can sell in Quebec, or Quebec can sell in Ontario, or BC, or whatever. So I've got agents right now they'll drive to Windsor, to Ottawa. You think they're going to go to?
Oh, for a lease, oh yeah.
They're going to go to Flin Flon.
Short-term lease. Yep.
Flin Flon, Manitoba. So I'm not sure how they get away with that. So I don't think they can, because we have Ontario laws, we have Ontario insurance, we have RICO, we have our own errors and emissions insurance, our health plans, everything else. I don't think they can do it. So Treb wrote them a long letter saying all the reasons why they shouldn't allow this stuff, because what does a guy from Manitoba know about Ontario law, or what do you know about Manitoba law? So. But we'll see what happens with that.
Do you need to know the law?
Yes, sir. I have a court case going on in 5 minutes here. So yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's forcing everybody, but Treb today forced me to do my survey when I logged in, so it's a good excuse to just do it, and they made it really easy for you to do it. They're doing this because at the annual general meeting, they talked about how they're in a $7 million deficit, and they said our only choice is to either cut services or increase fees. And I was like, cut services. Then. So here's the services that they're talking about. So when you're doing the survey, like, be honest about if you actually utilize these, and think about what we do for you as a brokerage in terms of typing your offers and all of that, right? Because a lot of these services are for brokerages that don't have that service. First question is, do you use Matrix or Realm? Skyslope Forms, Skyslope Offers, Broker Bay. Broker Bay probably would be a really good
That's
one.
a good one.
Web Forms, Fin Tracker, Rental Beast, Habistat, Hood Q, Real Track, List Track, Altus Data Studio. It's a lot of services you probably didn't know you even had or pay for, right? And so we go through a bunch of these. List Track we use. You know, I don't
I
all
don't
of
even know
them,
if the
but
offers thing ever picked up.
I'm not using Skyslope Offers. I'm just Google Sheets, you know. So just pay attention to that.
Rental Beast, I don't think that thing picked up.
No, so these are all the services they're talking about, right? I don't think we just need a Realm, Broker Bay. Web Forms is cool too. I'm okay with that.
We like List Track.
List Track is pretty good.
Just not a terror.
Yeah.
Just you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then before we give off to Katelyn, I know she's going to read her fun article, and I also, I think my logins have been showing me some things that are all similar. So psychology says preferring text over a call is a subtle sign of these certain personality traits, and Katelyn's going to go through with what being an introvert in real estate is. But we have this constant debate with Claire and I where we'll be talking about something, and he goes, well, did you call them? And we're like, no, we texted them. We're waiting for them to reply.
When they're available.
He's like, why didn't you just call them right now to get the answer? But there is some signs if you do prefer texting. Introversion was the #1 sign if you prefer texting, because it's just low pressure, gives you space to kind of think about how you want to respond, and you can respond in a way that feel good about. Or you get a phone call and you're like,
I'm in the middle of a meeting right now and someone's calling.
Right? A phone call requires immediate social performance, while texting offers a pause button. Okay, so just keep this in mind when you're talking to your clients too. People that prefer texting may be more conscientious, so they like having control, clarity, and they like having a written record. For them, texting an email is just a form to have a track record of what you've been communicating versus a phone call that you can't, necessarily hear. Neuroticism, social anxiety, so it's a shield from real-time scrutiny. So again, gives you a little bit of a pause to think about how you want to respond and what you want to do in that situation. Could mean that you're more agreeable. So a lot of people that prefer texting and introversion have space for measured empathy, meaning that they can exhibit empathy more frequently, which makes them good customer service providers as well. So Katelyn's going to go through, I think, a little bit of what about being an introvert means. She did a really cool
Do you guys
article.
need to pop out at all?
I think we've got 2 minutes, so we'll listen for 2 minutes and then we'll pop out.
So I was interviewed, I guess, a few weeks ago by Real Estate Magazine. I guess our family's a very well-known introverted family because they asked Century 21 Canada. Apparently they looked all over Canada for an introvert to do this article, and I was the only one. so they interviewed me on how to work with introverted clients, and I gave them some advice on how we work with a lot of introverts. We kind of started off how how these services got started, and I was talking about how COVID really enhanced how we do our business because everything started to go online, right? Like we weren't allowed to go into properties, we were doing more videos, and it really did open up a way to do business a little bit different than we were before. And it worked. We loved COVID, to be honest. So as an introvert, we thrived during COVID because a lot of the services were less in your face, and we got to be on Zoom. We didn't have to go to houses as much. So it kind of like even tapped into us bringing that into our business today to work with introverted clients. So we were talking about how like sales trainers typically are kind of talking about being more assertive. Claire's one of those. But I was talking about how the clients aren't one size fit all. And I think there's a lot of coaches out there that teach us how to be more assertive, how to go cold calling, door knocking. I've even had coaches tell you guys to bring clients to the office. And those were all great techniques and stuff, but there's some clients that doesn't work for, right? So when you guys are listening to coaches telling you guys how to do things, like Carly was saying, everyone has different personalities. So that might work for a certain client, but don't do your business the exact same for every single client. You kind of have to customize your services a little bit towards them. There is a place for those tactics. If you are working with an extroverted client, like Sanic would probably love to go to someone's office to go sign a contract. I would rather be at home. So a little bit different. Like Carly was saying, introverts hate phone calls, especially without warning. So if you've got a client and you want to get a hold of them, don't call them out of nowhere. Like right now, I'm in the middle of a meeting right now and I've got a client calling me. I would rather that client text me and say, hey, are you available for a call in 15 minutes regarding such and such? Introverts don't, and I'm trying to educate you guys on my type of personality because I've read the comments of this article, which were from Clear Extroverts, on why they don't get it. But as an introvert, when someone says, can I call you? That even freaks out an introvert. So you should say, can I call you in 15 minutes? It's regarding an offer. It's regarding this. Because they'll be like, well, first of all, I don't like phone calls. I don't want you to call me on the spot. And I also want to know what you're calling because we like low pressure atmospheres. An extrovert, you may be able to call out of the blue. So if you do have that type of client, go for it. But this is just, you don't want to push away your introvert clients by not understanding their personality because it could come off as a pressure and it's going to push them away a little bit. So if you are an extrovert, this is just kind of educating you guys on that.
Just curious about you have to identify your client, right? Whether they're introverts
Exactly.
or wherever they are here. But if you guys leave I get messages. You guys
All the time?
you can analyze it. Call Joe. Phone number.
Yeah, like when you get a page at the office, right?
You get those, Nelson?
I
Call
usually
Joe.
Call the office to find out.
Why?
Call Joe, and then
Yeah.
I don't call Joe right away. I want to know who Joe is. So
Who's Joe?
So I'll search his cell number,
Yep.
whatever it is, and sure enough, Joe's from Home Life. Okay, so what does Joe from Home Life want? He didn't say where he's from, what he's doing, what he's
Yeah.
about, and then you phone him up and say, "What's the lockbox?" or whatever he asks. It doesn't matter.
It's true.
So if you're leaving messages, think about what you're saying here. Like, hey,
Yep.
it's Clare Fulton calling regarding 24 something or other.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like Sanic, I always pick on you as the extrovert, but like if someone were to call you and said that, would you be okay with that call, or would you need more details as an extrovert? You would be okay picking up that call and calling them, right? So this is my point.
actually,
Not everyone is going to be like
an
that.
extrovert wouldn't think twice. Pick up.
They'd be
the
like,
phone.
great, I've got to call Joe, right? Or as an introvert, we sit back and that feels really, it's attacking our personal space. So in my article, I was talking about the emphasis of personal space for introverts. So if you're an extrovert, it's okay. I'm just kind of like, you might freak out some people if you're working with us, and it's going to affect your business in that way. So like Claire's saying, when you guys are making messages to your clients, don't just call them out of the blue. They might be work with the kids and stuff. They want to know, let's call in an hour. It's going to be regarding this. It'll be 15 minutes. That's like a calming thing where I can sit back, relax, and then I know exactly what the conversation. It's a very weird thing. It's just a personality trait that's hard to describe.
Yeah. I get calls once in a while, and the person just gets right into the conversation. Doesn't introduce themselves.
Yeah, like
Nothing.
who are you? Yeah, exactly.
who am I talking to?
Exactly.
What address?
Yeah, so that I was saying how extroverted agents can work with introverted clients if you understand them and ask them like in that initial consultation how you prefer to be communicated with. So if you have a client that says they prefer to be emailed or texted, that's a clear sign that they may be an introvert client. If they say, oh no, I prefer phone calls, no problem, you can go the extrovert route. So it's really important just to find out. what it is. And that's not to say you can kind of adapt your personality, because sometimes I'm working with an extrovert, so I have to turn my extrovert kind of personality on, and I will go meet with you or we'll do the phone call. So I will adapt my personality based off of it. It's not like I'm gonna only text all my clients because that's how I prefer to be communicated with. So really get to understand your clients and what they prefer. So if you are the type of person that's like, come to the office, and your client's like, oh, but like I prefer like email, then do the email. Don't freak them out, right? Because they'll go fire you and go find an agent that will service them in that way. There's 70,000 of us, so we need to just kind of understand them. Some of the tips that I gave in this article when you are working with introverts is focus on written communication, limit those in-person and phone call contacts. Again, if you do need to phone them, make sure you schedule it ahead and tell them why you're calling them. Provide detailed information. So when you're sending stuff, just send them a very emailed text or a very detailed email, checklists, videos, those types of things introverts like to deal with. Again, an extrovert might be the total opposite. I actually am suggesting an extroverted agent to get in an article because I think they may have a different type of some tips. Introverts also prefer the digital paperwork. So if you guys are doing online signatures, online home evaluation, when you guys are doing offer nights, don't go to their house and do offer nights. Don't come to the office. Let them sit at home in the comfort of their house, and you're gonna run it via email, text message, all of that. That's how they prefer it. If you've got an extrovert, maybe you are going to their house, sitting at the kitchen table during offer night. Maybe they're coming into the office. So like they're just very different personality styles. A lot of them don't like to go to open houses, so they prefer those private showings. So if you've got an introverted client and they want to see a house and you know there's an open house, they do prefer to go one-on-one with you so that they don't have to have a small talk with a strange agent. So again, that's another little tip. Don't pop by unannounced with a closing gift. That is their nightmare. And I know it, for maybe an extrovert, that seems great. I'm gonna pop over with champagne, we're gonna knock on the door. They don't want that. And so you're gonna send them flowers via mail or send them an e-card to Uber Eats. So don't just pop by. I used to do that because I thought I had to do that and that was the proper way. But then I've noticed that my clients prefer me just to send them a gift versus me showing up at their door. Extrovert, host the family barbecue, like do all that stuff. It's just a different personality. Same thing with your stagers. Sometimes if you do have an introvert seller, doing virtual consultations, so take photos at all of your listing presentations, send the photos to the stager will tell you what tips to do, and then you send it over to them. That way you're getting out another personal interaction, and you're still servicing them the same way, that you're just not doing an in-person consultation. The stager can look at your videos and your photos from the house. They don't need to physically be in the house to be able to choose what furniture they're giving. Maybe you've got a client that does want to have them come in person, no problem. But for these types of people, the stager doesn't need to do a consultation, so you just have to adapt. Photographer, same thing. Let them know, I guess if the client's there, just say they're an introvert, maybe don't talk to them. Half the time your introverts will leave the house anyways. So those are just some tips. Do I have any introverts right now? I know Ron is for sure, right? And those are all correct, right? That's how we like to be. And even as an agent, right? Like even as agents, that's how I prefer to give the services as well. Like I don't want to go to the house either. So if I get an introvert client, it is like, it's the best, right?
I think, with the texting and preferring the written communication,
yep.
Like I always pre-frame it as you want to be prepared, right?
Yep.
So we can talk like on a dime right now, or we can talk in 20, 30 minutes, tell me what you want to talk about, and it's a function of preparedness.
Yeah, like it feels pressure when someone just calls you out of the blue and you're like, why?
Tell me we don't talk about, let me look at some comparables.
Yeah, like it could be a quick call, but like it could be a long call. So like what if I got 10 minutes and I'm in between a meeting, like it's interesting.
Right? And,
yeah. Yeah, we're overthinkers. What about you, Sanik? Like, what is this the opposite of what you would like?
Yes.
Exactly. So, okay.
I called you on Saturday.
Yes, you do. Call me all the time, actually. He FaceTimes me, which is even more invasive. But like, so with your clients, but I bet like if you had an introvert though, you would adapt your personality towards it. No? Maybe now? Maybe now you will?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I still like to call people.
Do you give them the heads up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I had this guy comment on this article and I was laughing because he wrote completely false narrative. I'm not an introvert, yet I don't know. He's like, I prefer calls too. But he was like writing all these different things about how this is a wrong article, but like you're not an introvert, so you don't understand. So to an extrovert, this seems insane, but to an introvert, this is normal. Whatever an extrovert has, I think that's insane. So just understand we're all different, and it's not by choice. I didn't choose this life. Claire must have passed something on to us because he has it too. Anyway.
But when you push yourself,
We do push ourselves.
You're extroverted.
Yeah.
You're exhausted after. This is something.
Okay, that's a good point.
Right?
So
you're working outside of your sphere that you're most comfortable in.
exactly.
It exhausts you.
So that's a point. So introverts, I think people think that introverts are shy. It's not about shyness. It's about like after this meeting, I'm gonna be exhausted and I need to go and recharge alone, right? Like I speak on big stages at conferences. After that, you will find me in my hotel room, like alone and like recharging my energy. Whereas like Sanic, for example, his energy would lose if he's at home by himself. His energy is low. As soon as you put him at a social event, he gains energy. So that's what an extrovert gains energy from being around people. Introverts lose energy from being around people, and then we have to charge up alone. So that's kind of a tip on how it goes. It's hard to ask. What's that?
I'm okay if my wife is at home.
You're okay. And it's funny to have an introvert married to an extrovert because it's a whole other ball game when you've got, especially an Indian extrovert, when you got Carly going to all these crazy like family gatherings. It's a big thing to push yourself out of that for sure. Anyways, just a couple things that I heard. We've got some agents that are doing some really cool things right now. Archana, for example, I don't know if she's on the call, but she did a bank day last week, and I think she's going to be doing that more. So if you guys are just thinking of some other ways that you guys want to get some more business, I think she set up shop at BMO, and Paige and I used to do these every Friday when we got into business. So if you are an extrovert, I would suggest this is a great strategy for you to go set up a booth. We've got table runners and stuff for you guys. We have some signs that you guys can bring with you. But basically she'll set up shop and she'll get to know the people that are walking in, introduce themselves. But she's also getting to know all the people that work at the bank as well who are talking to the clients, which is a really good relationship building method that may give you referrals as well. I'm sure, would you have connections with that for bank days or anything?
When I was at the bank.
Yeah, so I think you have to have a bank mortgage broker or a mortgage agent, I guess, not a broker. So maybe just go into your bank and ask them if they offer that service. Also, Elizabeth Anderson, she did a webinar recently. And what she does is she actually hosts in-person first-time homebuyer seminars. Natsumi does this as well, where they'll host an off-site first-time homebuyer seminar. They'll partner with a lawyer, a mortgage broker. They'll partner with a bunch of people that have similar connections. And what they do to get people to come to these is on their social media and stuff. They'll host a live webinar with all of the speakers that are going to be there. They do a quick intro, and then they collect contact information from people that are registering for all of their webinars. And then from there, they'll send them an invite to go to the in-person event, and they'll have seats, food, drinks, and stuff like that. They'll talk about how to buy your first house, could be an investment seminar, and then they get clients that way to book one-on-one sessions with them after the session. I know that those two girls get clients from it, so if you guys are thinking some other ideas, maybe you want to host, if you're an introvert, maybe just webinar, if you don't want to get out there in front of people, but if you guys are thinking about some different things that have been working, Natsumi does hers in Mandarin, I believe. So she speaks Mandarin, and she does hers for all the Mandarin community. So think about your communities and how you guys can help them that way. Final thing. Have any of you guys tried the St. Joseph statue? I posted it in the WhatsApp group the other day. If anyone's getting desperate, they have these little statues called the St. Joseph statue, which is apparently a little religious thing to sell a house. And it's kind of a fun thing. They're $15. Our client bought it, put it in her little garden, and planted it. So if you guys want to have some fun with your clients, it's just a little quirky thing just to shove in their lawns. If they got kids and stuff, it's kind of fun as well. I mean, we got 3 offers on it, so I don't know if it was because we did a price drop or if it was because of the little statue, but I mean, it doesn't hurt. It's a little bit more of a religious thing. This week, we don't have any Wednesday trainings, so maybe we'll give you guys a fitness activity to do or something, go for a walk, have some fun. But next week, we are going to go, I think it's next week, yeah. Marshall Homes has invited us to their sales center in Pickering. I forget what the project's called. I want to say does anyone know? Time? Is it Time? Okay. So they're promoting their project in Pickering. They're now cooperating with agents. So we're going to go to the Pickering Sales Center with Marshall Homes next week, if you guys want to learn about that. And then in a couple weeks, Kriya is actually going to come in and do a realtor.ca training, teach you guys how to update your profiles and just some different tricks and tips that they've got on realtor.ca. So that's all we've got for that. Sanic is going to do a tech day at some point. What are you going to do on it? Canva?
Canva. Yeah. What was the other one?
You had a couple.
Yeah.
Grant, the AI, Gamma. So Sanic will do another tech day with us soon. That's all I've got. Does anyone have any properties or anything they want to talk about? No? Okay. That's all. Yeah.
Big lot, property with bungalow with 200 feet. Is it possible to
Sever it? Great question for probably the city. Can you sever a 200 back?
Yeah. Depth is
Well, how wide is it?
50.
50 by 200?
Yeah, and backside there is another road. So the
And
client
another
is
road?
asking-
You probably could if the city allows only a
Yeah.
100-foot depth. Sometimes you have to be a minimum of 110 or 120.
So
That's a city
only
question.
city
Yeah.
can answer this.
Yeah, that's right.
What city is it in?
Brampton.
Yeah, so your best bet's to call Brampton, the city of Brampton. I bet if you just look up city of Brampton, they probably have a department that you can email or call, and then they'll be able to probably tell you if you can sever it.
Minimum depth, like
Yeah.
for a detached house or something.
Yeah,
100 kind of sounds short, but
yeah, that's pretty tight.
sever is going to be 100.
Oh, yeah,
Right, if you sever it, it'll be 100 deep. So
yeah.
Usually goes by frontage though. Like when I looked into it, Pickering, it went by frontage. They wanted a minimum frontage for, they wanted like 25, so you put one, you separate.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that, you can ask for anything. 50 variances.
It's good that you have a street on the other side.
Yeah, there is another side.
Makes
is-
more sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because you don't have people behind it, it might make it a little bit easier. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got. So we'll see you next. There's no holidays, right? See you next Monday. Okay. See you next Monday.